Yo guys, it's Brit coming to you live at the beach. And I really wanted to talk about this topic. This is something that has been coming up a lot, and I think it's because of the Cancer Capricorn full moon eclipse that we're having today. So Cancer and Capricorn, those two signs, when we have a full moon in these signs, it often represents some type of family healing or family karma, and like healing at a soul level, like deep rooted issues needing healing, right? So this is a topic that has been coming up in my VIP group. Actually, I had one of my amazing VIP clients ask about what to do in that situation when people are asking you, like when you're being a positive person and you're someone like me and you like to look at the positive of things and you like to understand that you're creating your reality. Hey Danny, say hi to me, you guys, when you pop on, or if you're watching on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. So she was asking about, in my VIP group, she was asking, so how do you explain to people when you're trying to be a positive person and you're utilizing the law of attraction and stuff like that, how do you explain to people when they say stuff like, well, what about the starving children in Africa? Or what was happening on one of my threads today is talking about victims of abuse in childhood and how this is like really hard stuff to overcome and it takes a lot of healing and stuff. And while I'm not denying that at all, I'm not denying that it's not hard work. What I really want you all to know, and something that's really healed me, is understanding the soul perspective of why we choose to incarnate into painful experiences. Okay? Hi, Paul. So why would a soul choose to incarnate into a painful life experience? And what do I mean by that? I mean, why would you choose to be born into a life that is difficult for you and is painful and that caused trauma and like caused you to have to go to therapy for years, or caused you to spend years doing healing work, which is what it seems like all my people have been doing, right, including myself, right? We've just been doing all the healing work the past few years. Why would a soul choose that? So here's a couple theories that I want to share with you. So this is based on a perspective, hey Jackin, what's up? This is based on a perspective that I've spent a lot of time reading and studying and actually doing on myself. So I'm a hypnotherapist as well, but there's this hypnotherapist, and I think he was also maybe a doctor too, and his name is Michael Newton, and I will always go back to his books because when I read those books, it was like I just understood the entire fucking meaning of life. So these books by Michael Newton, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, they are called, okay? In these books, he takes everybody into hypnosis, like hundreds of people, thousands of people into hypnosis, and asks them, like, he takes them into the between life state. So the state where they are choosing their lifetime. I might be a little bit sunburned right now. I'm just noticing. So he takes them into the between life state, the state where they're choosing to be born, basically. And every soul experiences this between life state in the same way, like out of all these hundreds or thousands of people that he has put into hypnosis, okay? So, and when you read these books, and like you will feel the truth in your soul, like you will understand, like, holy shit, like at a soul level, I know that I did choose to come here, and I know like that this is true, right? So anyways, I've spent a lot of time reading and studying these books, and actually I was so obsessed with these books that about 3 years ago I went and had my own life between lives regression, which is what he does in the books. And at the time it seemed like it was a huge investment. It was like $600 or $700, which at the time that seemed like a lot of money. Now it's like, fuck, I spend that with my eyes closed. But anyway, so I did this. I knew that I had to do it. And so it was about like a 5-hour hypnosis. I was under hypnosis for 5 hours. I found out exactly why I chose this lifetime. I found out, like, I asked about some of the painful experiences I had had in life and why I had chosen to experience those. And I got all the answers. I was under hypnosis for 5 hours, you guys. So I really asked all the questions. And so I figured it out for myself. But also, so when you read these books, you will see all these examples of people that lived in really abusive childhoods, or people that are asking all kinds of questions about just basically everything that you've ever wondered about, like the entire planet and why it is the way that it is, right? So some souls choose to be born into a very difficult environment. And this is to clear karma. Okay? And like, that might not make sense to you right away, but I don't believe in karma as like a negative thing. Okay? But at a soul level, you would be surprised at how much pain and actually traumatic shit your soul wants to take on for your lifetime. Like, your soul is not a bitch. Your soul is very hardcore into healing and into growth and into learning lessons. And I don't mean that it means your entire life has to be just a complete shit show and learning lessons all the time. And actually, with the processes that we have now, like hypnotherapy and like my Britney Taylor method of healing, my 5-step process, or theta healing, I've also a practitioner of, or Reiki, like there's so many methods of healing now that it does not have to take a long, arduous process to heal yourself of trauma. But you would be surprised at how hardcore your soul actually is and how much pain and shit that your soul wants to actually learn from in this lifetime. And there's many stories in this book as well, you guys, and this is what's super fascinating. So there's stories of how like someone will choose to be born into this family that's very abusive, and maybe the dad's abusive or something, when literally in the previous life that this person have lived, they were the abusive dad. Okay? So not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, when you are born into an extremely abusive family or you are in an extremely abusive relationship, quite likely there is a role reversal happening here. Okay? So your soul chose to live this horrible experience, this painful experience, and I'm not denying you the pain. Like, of course it's painful, it hurts, it takes years of healing sometimes, but it doesn't have to anymore with the fast healing methods that we have now. So yeah, quite often what happens is, and this is going to sound crazy to people that do not understand souls, they do not understand past lives, but you guys, I've been doing this work for fucking like years now, right? I've experienced this in hypnosis myself. I've read those books like a few times each, and it just really resonates with me, with my soul truth. But if it doesn't resonate with you, just leave this and continue with your belief system. But really, when you see it like this, it will heal your heart. It will awaken this sense of perfection of all of life. Like, literally everything is perfect. And people that do not understand this are not able to, like, awaken to this understanding of, like, literally everything is just balancing itself out. So quite likely when we're born into an abusive situation or an abusive family, like I said, many cases, if there's an abusive dad or something, it will be reversed. Like, in your previous life, you were the abusive dad, and now you are experiencing what that feels like, okay? But, and I've talked about this before, I made a status about this before a while ago, you guys. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the status was the people that you hate are who you were in a past life, or something like that. And, like, that might have just seemed funny or whatever, but, oh yeah, and then I said, so forgive yourself and move on. And that might have just seemed like a funny status, but the actual profound healing in that statement is what has healed my entire fucking life. And it's why I'm a master of forgiveness. I forgive everyone of fucking everything, including myself, because I saw in this past life regression how I was the person that I was hating in this lifetime. Okay? So I can share my experience, and my experiences, like, are in no way, like, the be-all, end-all of experiences, right? It's just my personal experience, and perhaps your experiences have been worse or different, but what I really want you to just come out of is this need to justify why your life is so hard and bad. And, you know, it's so human of us to be like, oh, poor me, my life is hard and everything has been so difficult for me. But if you could see it from this perspective, you can instantly rise up above, out of the pain and trauma, and into a sense of purpose and into a sense of, like, soul freedom and understanding why you chose to come here, right? So anyways, when I first went to do this life between lives regression, I was going because I had a lot of pain in my heart, and it seemed like it was from maybe a past life. It was like, you know, all my relationship stuff, it seemed to go, like, way back. It seemed to feel, like, so deep. And so I went to sort of heal this pain in my heart. I didn't know if it was going to come from childhood. I was assuming, like, past lives. So anyways, I ended up, the first thing I did, the first time I ever went in hypnosis, I went in a past life regression to this lifetime, and it was like in the 1920s. and I was a man. My name was Bill or something like that, and I had a mustache. I thought I was hot shit, and I was not very good to my wives. I was maybe more good to the second wife, but it was like, yeah, Saturn in the 12th, Danny, you were absolutely right. And this is something with Saturn in the 12th house, which I have in my astrology chart, which it shows like an interest in past lives and an interest in understanding the meaning of life. And the reason that interest is there is because there's so much fucking pain that seems to come out of nowhere. And it's like, where is this coming from, right? And some of you might relate. It's like some of the pain that you feel, it's like, is this even coming from this lifetime? Like maybe I haven't had a super traumatic lifetime in this lifetime, but it's like this pain that comes up is just... Anyways, I've had other lifetimes that I saw where I was killed and stuff like that too. So that explains where some of it came from. But anyway, so I went to this lifetime. And I was this guy. Oh, you have it too, Danny, of course. We're so alike already, I can tell. But anyway, so I was this guy, and I saw how, like, I just wasn't that good to my wives. It was like I was married to these women, and all of a sudden I'm like, how am I here? Like, I don't even like these women. And so I was kind of like out a lot, and I just like kind of like treated them like shit. I mean, it wasn't like overly abusive, maybe a little bit, but I saw it for what it was, and I felt like me. Like, I felt like my personality. I was kind of like lighthearted and joking, but then at the same time just filled with like this deep, deep sadness and pain that I didn't really know how to deal with, right? So I didn't treat my wives very nicely in this lifetime. And then I was like, why am I being shown this, right? Like, I came to heal this pain in my heart of feeling constantly rejected by men and stuff like that. And so why am I seeing this lifetime of me where I'm a guy and I'm just not being that nice to my wives? Like, how is that connected? And then, so like I asked my soul that, or my higher self that, and the answer that I received was like, you're going to meet with men who are the reflection of what you were in that lifetime. So you can forgive yourself. And I'm like, oh. And as soon as I had that, it was like I never hated men again. Like, I never felt like I just always understood them. And I was always like, oh, like, this is just me meeting another version of me, right? And that's just one example. I had many other past life regression experiences, other times where I was like killed even. But anyways, that's just one little example of it. But so the point that I'm trying to make is, like, you, from your limited human perspective, you can't understand why you chose to live the experiences that you chose to live. But from the soul perspective and under hypnosis, but you don't even really need to get in hypnosis. You can actually just ask yourself, just quiet your mind and ask your soul, like, what am I learning from this painful lesson, right? And you should receive an answer. And this is something that will take practice, but you can get good at. This is what I work on with my clients. It's part of my 5-step healing process, actually. One of the questions in my process is, what am I learning from this? And once you find out the positive lesson, you guys, there's always a positive lesson behind every painful or negative experience, okay? And once you find that lesson, you will cease to experience the same pain around that lesson, and then you rise to a new level. And this is kind of what's happening collectively on the planet right now, and especially right now with this powerful full moon healing that we have going on. It's just this question that's been coming up. Like I said, it came up in my VIP program. It was like, well, why would people choose to be born like starving children in Africa, right? And like this part, I almost don't even want to say this because I know how much it will fucking piss people off, but what I read in the Destiny of Souls book, I've used it as like my Bible, because I'm always trying to understand the meaning of life and like why are things the way that they are, right? So I've spent a lot of time studying this work of Michael Newton in these books, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. So read those books, I highly recommend. But if you're not really a book reader, just listen to the stuff that I fucking talk about, because that is exactly what he teaches. I've like memorized it, and also I've experienced it for myself in doing that, hypnosis. And spending a lot of time in hypnosis in general. But so what he said about someone like was asking about like, why are there so many starving and suffering people in the world? And apparently, like with World War II and like the Holocaust and stuff like that, there was a lot of negative karma created for some souls because there was a lot of killing. And whenever there's like really negative energy like that, like killing and torture and stuff like that, the souls experience a backlash of like a lot of negative karma. And so a lot of those souls that caused a lot of the dying and horrible things chose to incarnate into a really difficult life experience this time to heal right? And to heal the karma and balance it, right? So this can also help you feel better about stuff like murderers. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm saying this right now, because the people that do not understand this at a soul level is going to think this is just totally crazy. But like, no one gets away with anything at the soul level. So if you go around killing people in this lifetime, there's no such thing as hell. You won't go to hell. But what will happen is you will choose at a soul level, because at a soul level, even these people know that that's wrong. It's just the reason that they have chosen to do this kind of evil thing is because they've actually disconnected from who they really are at a soul level. So those souls will go through like this healing process. Like I'm talking about the souls that have committed murder and stuff. They will go through like this sort of healing chamber process, okay? And this is from Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, but actually I've experienced this kind of thing too. When I was there, I saw what was going on. So they will do this kind of healing on themselves, and then they will choose to incarnate into a very, very difficult life experience, okay? It's to balance karma, right? So at the soul level, everything is always being balanced. And when you look around and you see people that are in a lot of suffering and pain, you're not going to go around and say, well, oh, that's your karma, because people, they don't fucking understand this. But if you took them into a past life regression or a life between lives regression, you would see why they chose to experience that experience. There's always a choice at the soul level, right? And you would be surprised at how gung-ho souls are to experience a lot of pain and trauma, right? Like most souls don't actually plan to come to this earth and just experience a really easy life because it's too boring, okay? And this is what I've read, like, and there's so many stories of this in these books, which I highly recommend if you're one of those people that is always seeking justice and you're wondering about the injustices of the world and how it could be this way. I highly recommend reading these books and experiencing it for yourself. I mean, there's a lady in North Vancouver who does these life between lives regression. I was going to maybe go to school for it too, but it's quite an intense program. Like, I'm already a hypnotherapist, but to do this specific type of regression, you have to do a whole lot of other schooling. But there's a lady that I went to in North Vancouver. So anyways, I would highly recommend looking into that if you're one of these kind of people that has always wondered about these kind of things, because it can just bring so much healing and new perspective. And like, I look at people and like, I see the pain that they feel because they look at other people in pain, right? And I feel it too. Like, I'm not a heartless bitch or anything. I felt so much pain and suffering for others that is what has led me to all this spiritual discovery and reading all these books and absorbing this and spending all this money to do all these different healing modalities, right? It's because I care so much too. But when you look at someone and you feel pain, you're not helping them, okay? So we want to offer solutions instead of looking at people and just feeling like they're victims and feeling like, you know, everything is out of their control and there's all these sad, horrible things that happen in the world and that's just the way that it is. That perspective will close your heart and deny you access to your soul. When you understand this, what I'm teaching you, your entire life can change, and you can see from the soul perspective why certain people have chosen to incarnate into difficult experiences, and some of those reasons I shared with you already. And also, it will help you come out of victimhood in your own life, and you'll understand the soul perspective and soul lesson and why you chose to experience those lessons in your life. So anyways, that was my rant. I had to say that because it's been coming up a lot, and like I said, it's something that I just always know the answer to because I've been studying this shit like for years, right? And it's something that you can be scared to talk about because people are so hardcore, like they so want to hold on to their trauma and say, no, I'm a victim, life is hard. Maybe life's good for you, Britney, but like my life is really, really, really fucking hard. And what about the starving kids in Africa? And if you're around people that are like that, this is the perspective that can heal them if they will be open to it. And not everybody will be, right? And that's okay. We don't all have to believe the same beliefs, but this is just what I've experienced on the soul level, and from doing this work and reading these kind of books and studying spiritual teachings. So it is karma, but karma isn't what you think. It's not like God is pointing its finger at you and saying, fuck you, here's your karma. You, at the soul level, chose your karma and chose to live the life that you're living, okay? And there is a certain amount of free will involved too. Like, you have a choice to go totally off the path and become a fucking murderer if you wanted. You do have that choice. But if you allow access to your soul, you would never do such a thing, right? The people that do those kind of things have lost connection to who they really are, okay? So I feel like that was probably one of the most powerful sermons I've ever spoken, but it's just something, oh God, it's been needing to come out of me, but it's like, it's vulnerable to share, right? Because it's so different from what most people think and believe about life. But it's what I've known at a soul level is true for a long time. And so I have to share with you guys. I didn't just get to be the joy of living from fucking around and having a good life. It's because I really fucking studied this shit, and I really went deep in all the pain and hurt and trauma, and I really wanted to just heal the planet. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I've studied all this shit for you guys, because not everybody has the time or money to go so deep into fucking spiritual healing. And a lot of you are like me, though. A lot of you are here to heal the planet and are here to awaken a mass number of souls, and you can't do that by keeping quiet about what you know to be true, okay? And so that's what I've learned, so I knew I had to share this. By the way, you guys, there are 4 days left to get into my program Soul Serenity before doors close. I'm closing the doors on Friday or maybe Saturday if you're lucky. This program, we're going to go so deep. We are going to access the state of soul serenity, the state of true inner peace that actually comes from the soul level. So it's going to be a very intense spiritual activation, this program. I'm going to post the link after. But yeah, there's 4 days left till doors close. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be hypnosis recordings from me. There's going to be a live training every week from me. And there's going to be like support in the groups. You can ask me anything you want in the group for the month. It's going to be a really healing container where you can become more of your soul self. The soul version of you that unconditionally loves and that knows with clarity what your purpose is, why you're here, like, which will activate such a state of serenity. It's almost hard to even talk about this program in words because it's such a spiritual activation, if you know what I mean. But it's going to be deep. There's 4 days left. Just wanted to warn you. And anyways, that's all I wanted to say, you guys. If you're just catching this now, go back and rewatch this, because some profound healing heart awakening shifts may happen for you after watching. So love you guys. I hope this helps. And like I said, if you're not okay with this kind of perspective, you'd like to continue living in the world where things are just very awful and horrible things happen because life is horrible, do not take my advice. Do not take what I've learned. But if you are ready for a perspective that is healing and that allows connection to your inner being or soul and allows you to see how everything is very purposeful and allows you to learn the soul lessons that you came here to learn, watch this video over and over and over again. And sign up for my program, Soul Serenity, because we are going to go deep. This is soul connection boot camp. You are going to learn exactly my processes to connect with your soul, to experience soul serenity. Okay? Love you guys. Remember, you came for the joy of living. Bye.